Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel S2T, Science to Technology. Hopefully you guys can basically see me and hear me. There has been some weird delay and glitch in this software for some reason. I'm using normal OBS, but I'm still waiting for, basically I have an incognito window. I'm waiting for it to show that audio and videos have actually been gone. Why is showing waiting? I'm actually streaming. What's happening here? What is happening here? What is happening? Okay. What is happening? Sorry, guys. Welcome to my channel, Science to Technology or S2T. Hopefully, you guys can hear me clearly now. There has been some glitch. YouTube is testing out a new low latency mode, and I think it is not as smooth as they think. So it did show some issue. I do apologize, but as of now, I think everything is stable. If any of you can comment AV okay, that will help me to move forward. So let's move forward with today's discussion. So the main point is I made some progress basically in my quest to make, so to say, a fume extractor and finally finish the most annoying part of it. Yes. So this was my first try of printing basically mesh in 3D print itself. Now be mindful, whenever you're talking about mesh, there was a two, three big YouTube channel that has showed 3D printer. Joe Printer, I think, if I'm not mistaken, they showed a very amazing trick where you can use infill itself to show basically how you can get the basically mesh printout. Now this is not perfect. If you look closely, it's not perfect, but because I have had many layers of it, as in like 4 or 5 layers of it, it has enough basically bonding, so it should work as of now. Now this is thankfully the way it's designed that I can actually change it, meaning the charcoal I have, activated charcoal I have, I do not trust it. It's very dusty. And apparently only water activated charcoals, basically things that are used for water filtration, they are the clumpy type that does not disintegrate into dust. So whatever I'm using, it's gonna disintegrate into dust. So I need a very fine mesh. I was trying to use other things, but that did not work out. Basically this kicked my ass for way too long, but now I'm happy for it. So basically next week, you guys gonna see a complete video of physical part is completely done. I'm very happy with it, how it turned out, and I will figure out how to share it with you guys. Maybe even give you an option where you can change the thickness of this puppy. So if let's say somebody buys not buys, as in like somebody wants to print their own version of this, they can print it, and if they have a different filter size, they should be able to adjust the size of this. It should be doable. And again, even the net size, because this is just infill, so this is 25% infill, you can basically reduce it to, let's say, 30% if you want even smaller holes, or larger one if it is not needed. So that's way I figured it out, and it works. I'm like genuinely shocked. And like I was always so hesitant of trying mesh in 3D printing, because again, look how tiny these things are. They're tiny. So I thought it will not work out, but it did. So I'm pleasantly shocked and feel stupid because I could have saved so much time. But it is what it is. This is complete. So some progress have been made. After this, the second part will start, which would be the electronics part. Now, the reason why electronics is not just putting some fan together and just turning it on is that unfortunately I got high power industrial fans. Yes, that can happen apparently. And the fans are so high power draw that if I try it on any normal wall adapter, it's gonna go boom. So if I try something like this, let's just say, so if I try something like this wall adapter, if I try something like this wall adapter, which is like 12 volt, this is 1.5 amps, yeah, it's gonna be fried very quickly. So I do need to figure out a way to tame this beast. So the beast that I'm dealing with is, this is the beast that I'm dealing with. This is a very high power fan. I mean, like, this is so high power that my motherboard has a port specifically for water pumps, and that is 4 amp 12 volts. So, port load of power. And somehow this puppy can overdraw that on that. Basically, it does not reach full RPM, it does not stabilize. And last time I've checked it, this puppy goes up to 6000 RPM. So, it's around, I figured out, opened the motor up and then saw it's like from a different brand, and that puppy is 7000 RPM. This is an industrial fan. So, basically, if my finger goes here, it will disappear. So this is way too. You are doing same live again. Yeah, I'm gonna do a Hindi live stream and English live stream. So this is a is it in English channel? Yeah, it's an English channel. I'm doing English. So yeah, two live streams on Saturdays, one on my Hindi channel, another on this English channel. So this fan is an industrial fan, so I need a metal mesh on both sides to be for safety reasons. And thankfully, there is a way that it does require PWM. Thankfully, I did buy the PWM variant, so I can send PWM signal to keep it very low RPM, as in like 1500 RPM. Because of the high thickness, it should work. This is not a standard 25 mm. Standard 25 standard 25 mm thickness and this, so even if you have the same blade profile but at 1500 rpm, this will obviously move more air. So that's the good part. I do not actually need a very high rpm on this, and if I can control it with PWM, I can increase the basically reduce the load on once it starts, then I can reduce it load and it will still work. So to achieve that basically soft start, all I need to figure out is basically how to use something like this ESP32S3 and use these puppies basically MOSFETs, and then basically turn one on at one time. So yes, it will be a bit more hassle than I originally intended, because right now how the physical thing is, just mount fans, go. If you do not want any control, it's like shut up, take money right now. It's there. But like it happened like and I do not want to waste more time on just like dealing with buying more fans. This is my like third or fourth fan try, so I'm kind of fed up with, like, it's hard to buy basically this sort of off case scenario. I can comment here without joining. Good. Yeah, you can do that. But only difference would be I will not be talking in Hindi, nor I will be replying in Hindi. So, and many people do not even know that I have this English channel. That is weird. So that's how I'm gonna manage it. Electronic wise, if any of you have experience with basically this 1.3-inch OLED, please do tell me which library works with this, because while it does work, like it's electronically working, and I did manage to get at least one line of text here. Of course, not me, ChatGPT, but we could not find the library that just works. So if you are familiar with how to get this puppy running with ESP32S3, I have seen a lot of tutorial, but those are for ESP32, not ESP32S3. So I think the chip is new, so library is not working as expected. So fundamentally, we have to see. If any of you know, please do help me out here, because that is kicking my ass far harder than I expected. But it's going to be very awesome. Like once it's actually done, what I'm expected to have is an actual fan controller where I can on off it, because while you do need MOSFET driver for these puppies, if you want to do very high speed switching, I do not. All I need to use them as is a switch. Basically turn it on and turn it off. That makes it an actual product. So I'm working on that electronic side. That will be very new, because again, I do not know electronics, but that has never stopped me. So let's go with that. Hello, the great state of Texas. Hello from, whoa, Austin. Oh, that's awesome. From Texas. So what's the time in USA right now? Hey, USA has 3 time zones. So what is exact time in your time zone? So right now it's 7 p.m. in India, 7.8. 7, I do not know, 7:08. A lot of people attended and announced about lying. Yeah, of course I announced it. There are a lot of people who know Hindi and English both. So if they wanted to watch both of them, go YOLO. That's up to them. So that has made some progress. Now, as to what's going on with my channel, I do apologize. Right now, life is kicking my ass, and I thought I'm gonna reconfigure things, but unfortunately, reconfiguring things became de facto my head getting boiled off. Generally, my court case only requires me to travel like once a month. This time I've been traveling for 2 weeks already. Third week also I have to go. So basically on 14th I have to go. The good news, bad news deal is that judge is fed up. So either it's gonna be a good decision or bad decision, but whatever is gonna be, it's gonna be on 14th. So I'm very, very anxious about this. I almost had a panic attack, because be mindful, this, if it goes badly, that means I have to go to high court to fight it. That's gonna be painful, but after some counseling and all that, it did allow me to realize I'm thinking way too much of future. Like when bad things happened in my life, I was stuck too much in past, and then I got stuck too much in future. Like it's very difficult to stay in present. Like if any of you have experience with how to apply breaks in present, please do tell me. I really need it. So that's the part that I'm struggling with right now. So again, once that 14th will happen, we'll know what to do next, and again I'll deal with it. Whatever needs to be done, I will deal with it. So that's why like the channel is not getting all the attention that it needs, but like you have a plan, life has a better plan. So life is deciding to kick my ass as of now. So let's just see now. 3D printer is working. After this, I'm gonna specifically focus on oscilloscope. I already have a good oscilloscope. I'm gonna make some amazing work with oscilloscope, and I think switching MOSFETs is gonna be very interesting. Now, as to which direction I want to take my channel in, I've realized very early on, it's like I cannot actually do the 3D animation, which is ironic given the fact that I am a 3D game artist. The fact is, the way 3D actual 3D is done, it generally requires team, at least two or three people, or one person working for months. And you may be like, so just take that months off and make a good work. Yeah, it does not work. The most amazing English YouTube channel I've seen is from Reflected Layer. It's amazing. One individual doing amazing work on Blender, and he goes into detail of scientific things. For example, when he's talking about an instrument, he's going into the instrument, like how does this instrument work, how the heck we have an instrument that can sample Mars atmosphere. So he goes in deep, very detailed, very good animations and all that. Nobody watches it. And again, I do not blame Reflector. He's an amazing creator, but that does happen. So to really make a what you call attractive 3D modelings and all that, it takes time. And I know, like, I've worked in some games, you may have heard of it. Forza, Forza, Halo, and Payday 2, and Payday 2, yeah, Payday 2 DLC, and one other game I worked on. Halo, Payday 2, Halo, and Walking Dead, and one other game. I forgot about it. It's long ago. So trust me, it takes a lot of people to really make a asset that looks good. I've seen a lot of 3D animation. The one that are actually good, they take teams of people to get it. So I can't compete in that arena. I'll get my ass kicked instantaneously. So that won't work out. So other things considered, there are time zone within 50 states. Texas has two time zones. That's odd. That is really odd. Austin, that is really odd. This is the first time I'm hearing USA like shows three time zones, man. Like, are you talking about time zone that are in Alaska? Like, it's very weird. Like, internationally, do you have three time zone, and then nationally you have more? Because like, let's just see. Time zone in USA, because I have this Timex watch. This is American company. They have three time zones, and the reason for that is like, okay, oh, so they are showing Chicago time zone GMT 5, Denver time zone GMT 6, Phoenix time zone GMT 7, Los Angeles time zone GMT 7. Then why do you have two? Phoenix and Los Angeles have the same time, and Arch Logan GMT 8, and then what the heck? HONOLULU. It's GMT 10. That is weird. Like, I assure you, like, and I have seen an American trucker like who recommended me this watch. It's like, yeah, it has three time zones. They were traveling, they needed to maintain three time zone. That is weird. If YouTube downfalls, what happens will with your earning source? As of now, that is not my concern. Like, I have like lost my hairs thinking about what if, what else. It's like right now, that's not my issue. Right now, as of now, I'm working on a project. I have a court case to deal with. Once that is done, I'm gonna focus on this project, and of course, then I'll see what I can do. Be mindful. I was a 3D game artist. That was like I was thinking about retiring from there, but again, company did a massive layoff. And first, I thought it was my performance, but again, I was not the greatest artist there, but not, also not the worst. Like, definitely, by scientific measurement, I was not the worst there. So it felt a bit odd. And all things considered, it was a very big what you call shock to the system. So laid off, like that happened like 6 7 years ago, like 150 people being laid off on a company that barely has 600. That was a significant. So that was a bit shocking. And after that, I had a talk with two CEOs, maybe startup people, and I was still looking for a job in that industry. And at the end, they asked me, what is yours? Like, have you worked in any game? I was like, yeah, yeah, I worked in Halo. No, 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 your game, like the game that starts with Anupam Vipul. I was like, ouch, I did not had anything. So that fundamentally broke me. After that, I decided to jump into YouTube. So, okay, here I am. Now, what will happen if YouTube falls apart? I do not know. I'll figure something out. I have to have faith in me, because again, here's the deal. What I'm doing right now, if you have tell this exact thing, this exact income, which is not that much, but here's the deal. I have been spoiled. So that's why it's like I'm in a position where it's like, I wish more and all that. But here's the a few years ago, I was living in Bangalore, which is so expensive city. I could be making three times more money that I'm making right now. I still would be poor. So it's one of those things where it's like context changes. So in those scenarios where it's like, okay, if YouTube does not become viable in long term, I'll do something else. I'll figure something out. Like that's the whole point of it, right? Like life, things happen, and then you have to figure out what you can do. I think watch time is increasing far more than your subscription. Again, let's see. Right now, I'm not focused on anything. It's like it's just too much messy. Right now, it's like I'm trying to. Yeah, mainland US has only four time zone. Texas has two biggest states, so we have two time zones. Yeah, that is really odd. Like Austin, that is really genuinely odd. Because I did say a very interesting trucker who was like American. That's why I find it very odd. Like why it has only three, not five, not 10, or not like Casio World Watch. It's like why exactly three? So it was like yeah, USA has three time zone. So I did not knew about this. Yeah, main US has only four time zones. But then again, it does not explain. Timex is an American company. Why digital Timex has only three? Life, mysteries of life. So. Okay, that's interesting. That's a very interesting fact. I did not knew about this. Anyway, what's the weather like in Texas? I have heard a lot of people saying Texas, like all, I have to have some Indian relatives there. They do say that Texas does get hot, like India hot. Like I'm used to degrees Celsius, so our temperature may not sound. Let's have a converter Celsius to Fahrenheit. C to Celsius to Fahrenheit. So right now, my temperature can easily cross up to 45 degrees Celsius. That is 113 degree Fahrenheit. So what's the temperature in Texas? Right now it's raining, so it's a bit cold right now. Cool as in like, let's take temperature right now. Oh, right now it's a very cold temperature, 28 degrees Celsius. 28 degrees Celsius, that would translate to 82 degree Fahrenheit. So I'm not sure about how you guys see. It's like very difficult, very confusing, like Celsius and Fahrenheit. But like all my relatives said that Texas is like hot as India gets. Not as hot as Rajasthan gets, like that's our Texas, quote unquote. But it would be interesting to see what kind of temperature you have. And another friend that is in Australia is complaining it's winter there. It's winter. I'm like melting here and he's like freezing there. He's video calling me with a freaking, winter clothes. I'm like, that's mean. But such is life. So, uh, yeah, I was talking about this. Yeah, currently other things are happening that is that one should pay attention to is a lot of wars going on, and two countries have declared national emergency. One is France, another is basically South Korea about their birth crisis. Now, be mindful. Most people do not study this, and it's not even taught properly in school. Is that you need a 2.1 of basically child per woman. Let that be very clear. 2.1 per woman for stable population, not expanding, not contracting, just stable. So let's say you have 100 million people, you still need 2.1. You have 1.5 billion, you still need 2.1. Any number below that can trigger what we call cascade failure, meaning you're gonna go very quickly. So this is a very critical aspect that people must. I've seen like even a very popular YouTuber who like he just that's how I knew about that. South Korea just announced it. That was like in the morning. The video came in the morning, and he's like, I did not understand that point 0.7 is it bad number? Here's the any number below 2.1, it's lethal in long term. Now, what is that long term? Long term means 90 years. So there were a lot of people, a lot of demographic expert in China that was screaming their lungs off when CCP was deciding one child policy. It's like, dude, do two, do not force basically under one. Because once the number goes below 2.1, there is a very serious risk it will never recover and you will go poof. But again, it's a slow event, so most people did not take it. 74 in Houston. Ooh. 74. Damn, that's cold. 74 Fahrenheit, that translates to 23 degrees Celsius. Reasonable, that's a reasonable temperature. I would say that's a reasonable. Yeah. So that a point thing, but nobody took it serious. Again, dictatorship generally are not known for taking relationships advice properly, and they did it. One a child policy. Right now, it was so bad. Again, it takes time. Let that be very clear. If you do it today, it does not mean tomorrow you're gonna be poof. It's a long-term process. One generation is classified as 30 years roughly, and lifespan is 90 years. So you have to wait for all the old people to die. Then you will notice, okay, there is a void. So it takes time. It takes very long time. You will feel, oh, population is growing. The momentum of that like old generation can keep carrying you forward before you will pay attention to it's like, wait, it's actually bad. So China forced it. China was the first country on the planet that actually like brute forced it, and they actually succeeded. And I'm pretty sure all the demographic expert is like, yeah, yep, we're gonna suffer for this. And they just announced a two-child policy and then three-child policy, and still birth rate did not recover. Let me be very clear. Once you go into below 2.1, there is cascade failure. Once you reach cascade failure, the likelihood of you recovering is almost zero. And let this be very clear, nobody actually knows how to deal with it because it's never happened in human history. This is the first time humanity is willingly going extinct. So we have no contingency, no protocol, nothing. And all the countries that are suffering from this, China denied. It's like, no, we are the China, we do not care about mathematics. Yeah, the three-child policy shows, yeah, you do care about it, removing that. Another aspect is Japan. Japan was like, is India also below 2.1? Yeah, India is also below 2.1. India has three states that is taking care of India's population. So right now, India's national population is 2.0, as in the Hindus in India is not in a healthy position. We are fading. Let me show you the map directly. Let me show you the map. That will be factually far more interesting. Just a moment. Let me show you the map. This will provide greater context. Ta-da! Hey, what the hell? Yeah, so this is India's fertility situation. Yeah, okay. So you can pay attention to the fact that most of the state is at 2 or below 2. So UP as in the 2.4, Bihar as it 3.0, Jharkhand 2.3. These three are healthy states. Every other state, basically, these three main states are holding it together. And this is from 2019 to 2020 Sensex. Things are bad. Things are bad. Let that be very clear. Things are bad. So this simply means Tamil Nadu is in really bad situation, 1.8. Some other states are really bad. You have Bengal that is 1.6, Gujarat 1.9. All these things considered. Basically, if you remove these three states, or if these three states starts to fall, yeah, we're gonna disappear very quickly, very, very, very quickly. Even with 1.5 billion people, we're gonna be like, poof. So it's one of those things that one must understand that you cannot go below 2.1 if you want to live. Basically, if you want to go poof, that's a different thing. But if you want to live, you cannot be below 2.1. It has to be there. And the reason why nobody takes it seriously, because for A, this is the first time in human history that's happening. Second, people have this magical calculation ability. What's the main reason of population? I'll talk more in detail about that. But the thing you have to understand, primary thing you must understand about this is that once this happens, everybody demographic expert, this happened in Japan. That was like that was the first time I heard about this like population crisis, because Japan was the first country to declare sex crisis. So I thought like they were having too much rape and all that, but no, it was like men giving up and the birth rate collapsed. Now here's the deal. That time, that was me in class 11. That's the first time I got a computer, the first time I had internet. So that's like 10 15 years ago, somewhere around that one, basically not too far ago. Color cameras, HD. And they had a news documentary about this. In that documentary, they said if we do not fix it, we have 250 years before our population drops to by 10%. Now something as an Indian sounded wrong in that, something was messed up in that mathematics. And then I realized what was the wrong. They, whenever this happens, country, whoever the country it is, they are dealing with it, they magically assume that the next batch of women will magically be at 2.1. I'm like, no, that's not why it's called cascade failure. Once you have that, people get used to it, then they drop, then they get used to even lower one, even more. So there is no magical scenario where it's like ting. So if you watch any graphs where they show, for example, this is another graph that you will see, like population pyramid. So they magically assume that once the line becomes stable, that's like, see, cone, growing population, stable line, stable. Here's the, once it turns like this, like for example in this scenario Germany turned like this, they magically assume it's gonna become flat again. It never happens. It did not happen in Japan, it did not happen in Italy, it did not happen in France. It does not happen on this planet where the line goes like this and then it magically becomes straight. So that's the dangerous part. That's why nobody is taking it took it seriously early on. So you should trigger red alert if you're going below 2.1. Now the countries are triggering red alert when they are below 1. I'm like, bro, you died. If you are below 1, like Japan is, Italy is, South Korea is. South Korea is really bad. South Korea dropped to 0.7, meaning there are many people who are in adultish life, like let's say 20-ish-year-old, they will live long enough to watch their country disappear. Like that's how quick it is. Like it's exponential decline. So this is a very big event. This is the first time in human history that's happening, and this is like whoa, kind of shocking, because we have no context of like the A, this can happen. B, it is non-recoverable. C, nobody takes it seriously until it's too late. And so basically, it makes global warming looks like a child's problem, because yes, global warming is a very linear issue. But what happens when you have collapsing population? You reach what we call 4 to 1 stage. Now 4 to 1 stage is basically, you have, as you can see, like this was Japan and China's one child policy's outcome. So you have 4 people, one couple up coming out of it and one child coming out of it. Now here's the deal: how the heck this child is supposed to pay for all of these? And again, that's the working generation for the next time, right? Child, whoever is child right now, so you are child from 0 to 30. Yeah, I know, it's just like generally you're supposed to start paying taxes and all that, like actually make some serious profit, serious contribution to the economy by the time you are 30. So that one somehow has to take care of 4 and 2. It cannot. It's like it's an inverted pyramid. It cannot sustain itself. So that happened. 4 to 1. And South Korea just declared national emergency, and I've been told that France also is declaring it, and it's bad. Let me be very clear. It's like those who understand this demographic mathematics, they're like, this puppy is bad. Let me South, yeah. So if you watch, basically, if you Google South Korea's birth rate, they will always show you till 2022. I do not know why the data has not been updated, but there is a very interesting image. So yeah, this image is because these were the two countries. They are small enough and not too small where the data becomes irrelevant. So a lot of studies have been done on them. Ta-da! Now this is from. Oh, hold on. So this is still year 2022. Now, if you must pay attention to the fact that see the decline rate of South Korea. South Korea went from having 6 to 7 children by 19, let's say they were having above 3. By 1980s, they were above 3. They were healthy till 1980 and they dropped dangerously fast. Like Japan's decline was much more slower. So the moment you go below 2.1, yeah, you are in danger. So Japan dipped. The first time Japan went into red was 1960s. They recovered a little bit. That was the time. If they really wanted to save their country, that was the time. They should have made sure that by 1970s, then they started to drop again. No. Like work your ass off, make sure that line does not go below 2, because once it starts to go, it does not go up again. And South Korea is like, and this is year 22. Right now, they have declared current crisis at it's 0.778. That is really bad. Spirit, I'm late today, not that much. So India is also better. The main reason for population decline, well, planet-wise, we believed into a lie. The lie was overpopulation. I was like, isn't population bad and all that? Here's the you can see this statement. There are a lot of people as two things. A, problem because you are lazy. B, problem to solve. There is nothing more than that, because I also made a dedicated video about this. It's like any time humanity was growing, we had the same issues. It's like when humanity's whole planet's population was 1 billion, people were like, we cannot support this. This happened. It's not a new thing. We were at 1 billion planet wide. Everybody was bitching like, we cannot support. 2 billion happened. We cannot increase with this with the upper limit. And here's the people, smart people were born. People worked their ass off. We solved that issue. And then again, 3 billion. Then again, 4 billion. Again, 5 billion. So if enough people are there and enough ethos and like cultural ethos is there, where it's like people equal good, me take care of people, then we keep figuring it out. Okay, it's a problem, let's solve it. Here's the if you had at the time of India's independence, like 70-75 years ago, if you have told any Indian at that point in time that India somehow is going to be big enough that India is going to feed 1.5 billion people, people like like, come on man, pass the joint, man, that cannot happen. But here's it, that's happening. And before any of you say that India have starving children, you do understand people do not run on photosynthesis. We have to have food, only then we can have the population. Oh, and by the way, India has less food import than China. Let that sink in. We good. We got this. Why did we got this? Well, we had basically revolution. So we had green revolution that allowed us to turbocharge our agriculture sector. You can read it, like a lot of effort was put into it to take care, make sure that India can feed itself. Then we had white revolution, milk revolution as they call it. So Shwet Kranti. In Hindi it sounds good. I know in America it will sound ugly, but like in Hindi it says Shwet Kranti or white revolution, or milk, we translated it into milk for English people. So milk revolution that allowed us like to turbocharge our dairy industry on a whole different level. Like do not even compare world's dairy output and India's dairy output. It's like, bro, no bro, like no. So we did all of that. We solved it. But again, this delusion that, like, population is like, we can't, like, here's the, there is a thermodynamical limit how much population Earth can handle. That puppy is at tens of billion. And the idea, old school idea was that humanity will grow, humanity will push, and then we're going to slowly go to stars. We're going to have moon, we're going to have Mars. That was the idea. Like, we're going to have a pressure here. That pressure is going to push us forward, and then we're going to grow. But that overpopulation mindset went too deep into us. And because that, fundamentally, what overpopulation is saying, that people are bad. Now, what does that mean? What are you trying to poof? You're trying to poof babies. So what does that mean? Like, do that for 30 years. What does that mean? That means you are fundamentally saying people, children are bad. You do that long enough, from, let's say, 19 give or take 65, 1965, that brain damage started. You do that for till 1990s, everybody will believe it. Now, if you have a whole generation believing into that lie, everybody's like, oh, we can't solve it. It's like, bro, our ancestors solved this. Their ancestors solved it. Their ancestors solved it. We have better tools to solve even more problems. And then we're like, yeah, it's too hard, man. It's like, the heck? Now, if you do this long enough, it becomes a permanent thing. Then the final death nail happened. Like, so far, we hurt human species, but then we fired nuclear missiles. Final nuclear missile. We nuked family unit from orbit. Now, the moment family unit falls apart, everything else falls apart. Because here's the deal. Humans are not humans because of our technology. We are humans because of our family unit. Why does that mean? Like, why does that matter so much? Here's the deal. Why do you think human children are so fragile? Because we can afford to have fragile children. You cannot do that in animal kingdom. In animal kingdom, basically, the tribe knows about tribe. That's it. Tribe. Father as a concept, where it's like, no, I'm the dad, this is my baby. That absolute certainty only happens in human. Like in all other species, the pheromone signature is very sloppy tool. Like if it's in your tribe, you are familiar with all the females, all the males, you have a tribal signature. That tribal signature that is found in elephants and all the bird species, all that is there. You will know, like, this is my stuff. But this precise line where it's like, no, this is mine. And the investment that human couples do on child, it's exponentially higher. That allows humans to have this puppy, this huge puppy, basically this one. Just take your four fingers, have it like the above your eyebrow. This is your frontal cortex. This puppy takes way too much energy to develop. And we did that because we built family unit. Now every elderly, brain damaged people were like, what if we missile family unit? Because it's one of the things you have to understand. If family unit is working, it's a cell of a country. Like how my body exists, because cells are here. Hundreds and billions of cells are working. If you compromise the cell, what do we call it? Cancer. What happens when you have cancer? You die. So same way, country does not matter. Like you can have, oh, we have 500 states, does not matter. Is your family unit intact? Yes or no? If family unit is intact, you're good. And again, you only have to compromise very little of it before you can collapse a country. For example, Japan had this herbivorous movement. Everybody laughed at it. It's like, who cares? Yeah, that was only 30% of male population of a specific age group from 15 years old to 30 years old. Yeah, that killed the country. That's how little you have to do. That's how little you have to do in order to proof a country. So fundamentally, you have to understand, if family unit is intact, you're good. You can withstand world wars. If family unit goes away, everything else are like global warming does not matter. If family unit goes away, nothing matters. And every country, there are 200 countries on this planet, 200 around 150 countries on there, they were deciding to fire RPG missiles at a family unit. Once that is done, it's done. Okay. Can humans solve these issues? No. Why Kumbh generator is not feeling like USSR? Because it's being supported by other players. No? USSR, once USSR pulled in money, and again, it's rotting. It's not a place where you want to be. So it's a failed country. That's a definition of a failed country, that if nobody wants to go there, nobody wants to deal with business with that, people cannot leave there. It's a jail. It's not a country, it's a jail. You cannot leave that country. It's a failed country. That's the definition of a failed country. You cannot leave. It's like a dictator's playground. That's the definition of a basically failed country. And the sole reason why it has the power it has is they criminalized international crime hood. So basically, apparently, they literally spent billions of dollars to make fake dollars. So basically, super dollar as they call it. Because again, any country can fake any other country's currency. It just takes too much resources. No other country will do it. But they did it. So a lot of crime goes through there. That pays a lot. On top of that, they are getting support from China. Then they were getting support from USSR. Then they were getting support from Russia. All these three things are keeping them afloat. So it works, but it's a failed country already. It's a failed country. So every textbook say overpopulation is dangerous and see area and red color. Yeah, that's the whole point. That's the lie that we were sold in 1970s. We believed it by 1990s. Now we are dying because of that lies. Like it happened. Like what I'm saying is not magical. You can check it every time India, I'm saying, every time humanity increased in population by billion, we were screaming that we cannot handle it. People were doing the same thing when you're like 1 billion, we cannot place it. There is like some tablet, some weird individual deaders, like, how to rebuild the civilization after a collapse. Do not have population more than 100 million. I'm like India is like, bro, I do not even need to use whole India. Like few states will be like, bro, I got this. We can feed all that much. And to be fair, we only have few states that make that much food. So it's one of those things that like a fundamental misunderstanding. Like basically humans are good. We corrupted that point. And we are shocked that people don't want children. It's like, yeah, you said this shit for 30 years and it's working. It's like, you put arsenic in the water and then you're like, oh, people are dying. It's like, oh, shocking. So this happened. So yeah, how are you doing physics, engineering, economics? How are you doing physics, engineering, economics? Physics, engineering, economics, what the line I say, that simply means whenever you are assessing a project, will it work or not, you have to check in 3 layers first. So if somebody says, basically, massless propulsion, right? Not photon propulsion, massless, like nothing goes on, like EM drive. That fails in physics level. Throw it away. Do not waste time on it. Free energy, throw it away. Do not waste time on it. No matter what anybody says, if it fails on physics layer, you throw it away. Then after physics layer, you have engineering layer. Can you actually do it? For example, physics does not stop you. You can travel as fast as you want on Earth's atmosphere, like till Mach 10. And again, even after that, it's not a limit. It's just like, yeah, the heat output will be too much. So physics says, hey, bro, you should be able to go to Mach 10 in Earth's atmosphere without too much issue. Like after Mach 10, the heat becomes so much, it's like melting steel directly. So it's like, okay. So can engineering build it? Yes, engineering can build Concorde. That's a passenger jet that can travel Mach 2.2 without afterburner. That was the amazing part of it. Without afterburner. Afterburners consume too much fuel, so it's not efficient. But Concorde could do it without afterburner. Okay, we got it. So we solved the physics point. Physics is saying, yes, you can travel at Mach 10. So engineering says we can give you Mach 2.2. Okay, awesome. Then why don't we have Concorde anymore? Economics was not right. Physics is very clear on economics front. If you are moving a mass, does not matter what aerodynamics, just assume it's a mass. Just assume it's a sphere. Okay, just for simplification factor, a sphere moving at, let's say, current passenger jet speed of 700 km per hour versus 2000 km per hour in the same atmosphere. It's just a sphere, no aerodynamics change. One will consume more energy. That's like law of physics. Energy has to come from something. It has to come from fuel. Fuel has to be paid for. Economics does not work out. That's why you can try to do things, but not everything was. The sole reason our mobile phone got better and better because the economics became cheaper and cheaper. For example, same silicon, we actually started to reduce the silicon. The amount of physical silicon used started to go down. Like the amount of, like if you open old phones like Nokia era phone, you will see lot of black box, lot of it. Nowadays, one and maybe some RAM units. Done. Like you see modern phones, when they open it up, it's like a tiny sliver of things are there. Like some antennas, some silicon, done. Why? Because we are physically shrinking the silicon. So economics is helping. That's why we can actually assume for our phones to get better in the future, because physics is like, bro, you can go as far as you want. Engineering is like, we got this. Economics like, we got this. It works. So somebody says hyperloop. Does physics allow you to travel very high speed in a vacuum? Absolutely. Good. Engineering, can we build it? Absolutely. Good. Economics, hell no. Why hell no? Here's the this is another aspect I've seen too much in that Novo video, basically Iron Lev and Novo video. Is like people do not understand, it's not the technology of the track that is limiting the speed, it's the track itself. Basically how many turns you have, how much gradations you have to simplify all of that. So whenever, like even in India, when we have what we call expressway, we have highway and then we have expressway requires a very what you call flattened, oh sorry, expressways requires a very what you call straight, like curves cannot be too much, you cannot have too much elevation. Same goes for trains. So you can have wheels that can easily give you 350 km per hour without any issue, but here's it does not mean you can run the same train, same aerodynamic coach on let's say Italy tracks or UK tracks, because UK tracks have too much turn, so does Italy does. So if you try to do that, it will fall apart. Same thing goes in hyperloop. The what we call right of way that you need I think camera, yeah, the right of way that you need in order to achieve that 600 kmph or 700 kmph or Mach 1 or Mach 2, that's the expensive part. Like, what does that mean? That simply means either it has to, or everything has to be elevated, or when you are going through a mountain, you have to go through a mountain. You can't go around it. Can you see an example of this? Yes, you can see in Japan Shinkansen maglev variant. And why maglev is so behind schedule and so overpriced? Because they cannot take the turns. They have to go through the mountains, and then the drilling happens, then the price goes low. So physics, you can build maglevs. Engineering, we can build maglevs. Economics, no. So you can try it. It's a good experiment. You will learn a lot about other things, but it's something that, and again, in something that requires a ROI, right? A return on investment. That's a different ball game. Like if you are building a aircraft carrier that is $13 billion, nobody cares. You're building a railway network that consumes $13 billion, everybody's gonna care. So that's why I say physics, engineering, economics. Do not focus on like only one thing. Oh, physics says it can be done. Of course it can be done. That's the easy part. Hard part is, can engineers do it? Once engineer can do it, then you worry about, can it be done in cost? And that's the part where majority of project fails. That's why more than enough people were like years ago, before people started to smoke Elon Musk, they were like very clear. Engineers, people dealing directly with public transport, they were very clear on this. Like, this will not work. You are fundamentally messing up the calculation of economics. And they're like, no, we're gonna do it. I like Thunderfoot did it, EV Vlog did it, other engineers did it, who are like transport engineers itself. And other than that, everybody worked their ass off, and nobody listened to it. And my first video on the topic is 6 years ago. And be mindful, every problem that is there in what you call Hyperloop, you can solve it. Let that be very clear. It's not that you cannot solve the problem, it's just that you cannot do it cheaply, and a ticket price has to be cheap. That's the part people are missing. That's the two things that, oh, we can solve it. Of course we can solve it. That's never been an issue. Is that, can you solve it without bankrupting the nation? That's the problem. So it's one of those things. Sorry about that. So same goes with that physics, engineering, economics. That's why always check through all these three layers. If something breaks in like physics layer, don't even waste time on it. Something works in engineering does not mean it will work all the time, especially if it requires a certain level of ROI. Let that be very clear. If army can do it, does not mean you can do it. So same applies for nuclear. Why the heck nuclear does not work in real life? That's the whole point. It's like, even if let's say there are some states in USA that are running on nuclear, and they're like, everybody's like, oh, we're getting cheap electricity. No, you're not. What you're getting is a fixed price that government did when they thought the nuclear plant will cost, but the plant had cost overrun, and the money basically started to come from, how did that come to be? That's again, the people who are dealing in the administration, they can tell you, but it becomes a central government debt, and then it becomes inflation. So you're paying for it. It's just like, instead of your electric bill, it's coming from somewhere else. And again, now we have a competition. Now we have solar. Now we have wind. So things change. Is there any country which has above 2.1? Yeah, there are like 5, 6 countries that are above 2.1. Most of African nations are above 2.1. You want a worldwide? I had a worldwide Sensex. Yeah, this is worldwide Sensex. Hold on. So all the blue parts are dead. How can I show? Okay, just watch the thing. Yeah, all the blue parts are dead. The greenish part that are two, yeah, they are in knife edge basically, and the red part is the healthy part. Yes, because of that lie that we believed, the colors are inverted. But any color that is below 2.1, yeah, they did. They did, as in like, you will live long enough to watch it fall happen. You will live long enough. That's the scary part. You will live long enough to watch it. Nobody will take it seriously, but it will happen. So yeah, only 16 people watching felt a bit bad. No, that's not that bad. When I started like 6 years ago, that was the same amount of views I got my in Hindi channel. So it's like, okay, it is what it is. Espresso has scored only 1 star in GNAP in Safe India car program. Here's deal. Indians people will buy cheap car over safe car. That's why it's poor. Because here's you, Maruti Suzuki itself sells a lot of cars in abroad, and they have much higher safety rating. We do not want safe car, we want cheap car, even if it costs our life. So that's what it is. It's like, fundamentally. Why Korea is falling faster than Japan and China? Yeah, they see, all the essence comes down to one thing. If family unit breaks, nothing else matter. Everything else will lose control, meaning inflation will go exponentially higher. not just a little bit, like it will go so much higher, and people will start to value other things rather than family itself. Again, I do not blame anybody who's in that position. Heck, I am flat out saying do not get married, go to family court near you and learn what's happening to men. So do not ruin your life, because again, there are things worse than death, especially rotting slowly. So in those sort of scenario, uh, they literally typed law after law after law that was like just butchering, lack of a better term, butchering males. There is a consequence. Their men are not gods. We cannot just be king slaughtering and slaughtering and slaughtering as nobody cares. It's like at some point we're gonna break. Yeah, we broke. Done. Bye. They built a world on a lie. They slaughtered us, and it's like, okay, I'm out. Like it's exponentially higher. Basically, if you build a foundation of a nation on a lie, it falls apart. Basically, if you say men and women are exactly the same, that fundamentally means men should not exist. Either God made a mistake or evolution did. Now, here's the deal. I do not know about God, but I can damn assure you, nature does not make mistake. Not of this caliber. Of course, it makes tiny mistake. Having fibers, weird places, valves in different places, those are different things. But as a collective, like half of humanity, yeah, no. So again, you believe in that lie, you die. It's as simple as that. Believe in lie and die. There is no calculation of that. Israel is very good in that. So so most complicated part is economics. That's absolutely true. Economics requires you to not only think right now, you have to think in multiple ways. Like for example, many people say, oh, people who are against nuclear is like they do not understand, it's very easy to solve. It's like nobody ever said that it's hard to solve. Like watch my video about nuclear, why nuclear energy, like the nuclear paradox. It's like everybody's like, oh, we're just gonna bury it underground. Absolutely, you can do that. There is no problem in doing that. It's just who's paying for it. It's not something, oh, $5 ticket and go. It's like we're gonna do deep geothermal. Have you seen the price of deep geothermal wells? Ain't cheap. Ain't cheap. So that's the whole point. Economics requires that understanding. Whereas like I was seeing someone in Joe Rogan or something like, oh, we can just like bury it. It's like, what the hell? Like, do you know how expensive it is tunneling in a mountain? It's like we can do it. There is no doubt about that. It's just that that would have made sense in 1970s. It does not make sense now when we have cheaper form of electricity. And before anybody said, oh, but now 24 into 7, you have a new source which is cheap and abundant. That means now it's economically viable to solve for the storage part, and we will solve it. So that's happening. Is there any good thing in the world which can make excitement for teenagers? Because I see future is dark. See, I cannot blame. Like here's the deal. This happened in America, and it's a very dark thing that happened. Joe Rogan, I'm saying, Joe Biden. Joe Biden had a court case, Supreme Court level, I think, like he's in executive branch now, so it's like very high level court case. And it was like, he's an old man. That's why he took sensitive documents and all that. And I'm like, basically, legally, this is on record. Legally, they are saying that an old person who cannot be trusted, like, oh, he just made a mistake, he's old and senile and all that. That's the reason why he's not charged as a criminal offense. Okay, cool. How the heck is fit to rule a country? How? How the heck that happened? Like this happened in the USA. I was shocked. Like, how the heck these two things happened at the same country in the same year? They should not be allowed. Like, it should be like, okay, you cannot be trusted. I get it. You did not did malice. I get it. Cool, awesome. But here's the deal. You have to be disqualified from running for president. How the heck that did not happen? So when you have too much old people who are like gaining power exponentially, and it's like how you have a investment requires years to build up. So old person will always bitch slap a young one. Like you can, unless you risk something very absurd and you may win, like people did in Bitcoin early phases, not now. Unless you can do that, you're not gonna even come close. You're gonna lose before you even start, because again, time builds it up. So those many old people who literally are out of touch, again, same people who are in Japan, they were like, this is like, we do not have to worry about it. The lines, like, see any animation of population crisis, they will show the line goes like this, and then it magically becomes straight. I'm like, this is the real world data, like 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, it's like shrinking, and then they have magical data where line just because that does not happen. But again, old people think like that, so that's how our countries are run. So yeah, there is not much that I can say. That's why I said do not get married. Like just go to family court near you, anywhere, 150 country, go YOLO, go anywhere, and you'll be like, yeah, not worth it. And again, many people will still risk it, because again, this, while awesome, does have a problem, because this is an add-on. It does not have blood control, meaning if your body needs any emergency function, it shuts down. What needs your emergency function? Basically, you can put a person in fMRI machine, functioning magnetic resonance. Basically, it's a video camera for MRI. You can see when he gets this puppy runs out of blood. Basically, it's almost like how we go into dream sleep. This runs out of blood. Same thing happens. So that's why I understand it. Man cannot quote unquote control it. I'm like, if you can do it, like we literally need genetic modification of this puppy. So it does not allow blood to run away. It's like, nope, nope. But it is what it is. Starship at 23. Starship. Oh, are they planning to launch on 23? That's the first time I'm hearing it. So yeah, why so many papers leak in Indian exams? Yeah, that's a big issue. But again, we Indians value too much of examinations. That's why it's so lucrative to sell it. It's like it's our own mess. You cannot, and again, the only way you can solve this question paper leaking issue is question paper have to be randomized. While randomizing the question paper is not an issue, checking the paper will become an issue. That's why it's like it's a hard problem to solve. Israel is also healthy fertile rate despite being hyperinflation over there. Yeah, Austin, that is a very critical one. That's the only nation that has somehow managed to keep its family unit intact. And I think the reason for that is wars. Like they have actually, like, war never harms human family unit. Ironically, it strengthens it at that time. So because of the fact they are in such a hostile environment, that ironically that may be a very big reason for it. Like you can see how people got together, like in that attack, September attack, or like what was the attack? That attack that happened in October. Damn, sorry, I'm forgetting the month when that happened. So Israel is almost like single-handedly different. And again, they have certain luxuries that other people do not do. Like they're almost like a what you call not hated group. Everybody else is like hated. Like everybody is like, oh, India has so many people. It's like, dude, we are feeding ourselves. Do not like blame us for everything. It's like, but people are blaming it. And again, I do not mean other people. Like Indians are blaming India. So it's like, again, Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi literally poofed fertile males, Hindu males, in order to control the population. That happened. So yeah, I do not say like if that's why I said like who fires missiles at family unit dies, and there are very few countries. How come most famous scientists come from Germany? That's not a valid question, and again, that's not true. Just because you know Einstein does not mean every other does not matter. How can lust through genetic engineering? Yes, see, lust is on DNA level. Like it's literally your biological function. You exist to propagate life. You do not exist so you can get a bonus in exams. That's the whole point. Like that's your DNA function. It cannot be. It's like if you have a child, like let's say you have group of children in a remote island, no TV, nothing, they'll still get horny. Like it's not like alcohol, it's not like cocaine where you have to teach them. It's ingrained, it's a default function. Once the puberty is done, your body knows what to do. It will be like we cannot control it because it's not designed to be controlled unless you have mutation that allows you to be in like rare people, which we call asexual people, very rare. Like Newton was asexual, Nikola Tesla was asexual. They are rare AF, like literally very rare genetic mutation that allows you to, like, from their point of view, apparently that's the best way I have seen it being explained, is like puberty does not do anything to your brain. You basically are stuck in that, as a boy point, you're stuck where girls do not make sense to you. It's like they do not appear as like something to chase. Like it does not appear. It's like poof. I'm like, you bastard. But I do not know any way of genetically copy pasting that luxury into other people, especially like like I can see it if, using Casper, if you really want to go YOLO on it, on baby that is being born. But I do not see adult because our DNA already did the damage, so can't do much about it. So can we have video on meta materials? Which kind of meta materials? That's the question. How can we decide career? Because my friend say he wants to start a company, wants me to partner, but if I do, then I have no way to compete in government jobs. So any advice? See, government job will give you safety, it will give you comfort, but it will take everything away from you. You risk a business, it will destroy you, it will hurt as hell. But if you succeed, you will succeed. Let's be very clear. Job, this is your range. Business, this is your range, meaning you can fall to a debt that no person can even understand. How can you have 100 millions of debt? But if you succeed, you're gonna make almost, what is the highest I have seen, $100 million raw $1 million as in like in bank account, not like Jeff Bezos and all that. Those people have a lot of what you call worth, but does not mean they have that kind of money. So highest money I know is like in hundreds of million. Again, Jeff Bezos also has that, like that kind of, where it's like, no, I got 100 million just for like just chilling out. So that can be done in business. So if you are like, again, from a human point of view, because of hyper competition in government jobs in India, you may not win. Let's be real about it. It's like if there is like 15,000 seats and almost millions of people are trying to get in, likelihood of you succeeding is not very high. On top of that, there is one thing money cannot buy: time. If you waste years trying to do it again and again and again, that's up to you. How can I control myself from falling in love? You can't. I told you, this is the part that thinks this does not have blood control. Basically, this part does, what we call a lizard brain. I'm like simplifying, ask a genetist, ask a doctor, and all that, but like that's the best way I can describe it. You cannot. You can stay away from women. That will reduce your probability, because once you do not have the pheromone signatures, your brain does not trigger the events, and you may be lucky. You never know. You may be lucky. You may have that asexual gene, and like your system is not fully destroyed, because be mindful, like full on and full off, there like nobody stays there. Like asexuals are only full off, but most people are somewhere in between. So if you are in the lower end, you may be already lucky, and it gets easier as you get older. So one man versus institution, interesting point. Make a video on genetic engineering. So I have done a few of them. Metamaterials replacing heat tiles on rocket. That's not a metamaterial. That's not a metamaterial. Like, which metamaterial? Is there any specific metamaterial that you're talking about? That would help me to narrow down the search. Right now, you're describing stuff, but you're not describing anything. Like, oh, when it comes to like controlling yourself, here's the deal. This is the very best psychological model for human psychology that people have studied. Let me shrink this puppy down. Yeah, this is what we call Maslow's pyramid of need. Pay attention to the fact that the lower levels have breathing, food, water, sex, sleep, homeostasis, and excretion. Excretion means you should have a good place to poop and pee, and homeostasis meaning the day to day should have some stability, and sleep, obviously, but sex is there. You cannot turn it off. Like, you cannot turn it off. Like, people think we can control. It's like, no, it controls you. The best you can do suppresses, and that also goes to your genetic code. Does that genetic code has like because again, some people, again, Newton was lucky bastard, like he was he was born without a, like, self-destruction device, but other people's are not. And again, you can control it to some extent, but that control is like wasting energy on suppressing yourself, which will blow back in the future. So well, that's the most painful part of being basically hated by everyone. It's like we are hated for something that evolution has spent millions of years just to make sure that does not happen. And everybody in that evolutionary path, pinnacle of evolution, is wishing, can we just turn it off? Like, my life would be so much easier if I can just go. But such is life. Such is life. So yeah, and again, physically staying away, that doesn't. But do not get married. Let that be very clear. Family unit is destroyed. It's done. Past tense. So do not risk now. It's like it's not worthwhile. I mean, material that will have more melting point than tungsten. Again, which material? You are just, see, if you start to make things up, I have no context for it. But under law, they are more in stock market. So, so he lost money in stock market does not mean he's died poor, right? Like, he did not die poor. He died as a respected scientist. Respected. We still study about him. That's how respected he was. He started trigonometry. He started color theory, man. We did not even know that white color had colors inside it. He figured it out. Like, that's how good he was. Again, does not make him perfect, does not make him what you call absolute, but much better than everybody else. Like, look at what happened to Einstein when his first marriage fell apart. He almost died. Oh, look what happened to this guy. What's his name? Died very recently. Stephen Hawkins was not pretty. So let that be very clear. I'm not going to marry. If you are young, I will not trust your word. Once you cross the age of 35, then I will trust you. then I'll trust you. Because at that point, it's like, yeah, you have lived long enough, and again, your body is not running on hornium that you can actually pull it off. But you have to reach that point. You have to reach that point. And again, go to family court regularly, so you get a dose of reality regularly. Because again, people will say, oh, not everyone. It's like, yeah, everyone. No, 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 not everyone. No, it is everyone. Just go. Just go. Just go. If a world believes in a lie, it does not end well. So, and again, yeah, I'm already visited. Yeah, then again, if you keep a regularly, because here's the deal, I told you that this will run out of blood. And again, if everybody tells you a lie long enough, you will start to believe it. So let's see. You know where I can download Windows Office? Microsoft. Oh, anyway, looking at the time, it's 1 hour. So it was a surprisingly interesting live stream. We had a good discussion, lot of interaction, no donation. So and all that. So I'm very happy, and please wish me luck for 14th, which is gonna be a very rough day. It's gonna be a very brutal day. After that, I'm gonna see you next Saturday, and if something major happens, I might as well do a live stream on Saturday. Humans need to be taught about why it's not like in the case of animals. Who said human need to be taught? We already know. I told you, put kids in the jungle. They will figure it out. Biology has that information built into it. 14th, my birthday. Oh, good king. Interesting. Why did you roast Linus Tech Tips? I did not roast him. It's like, it frustrated me that he could have done something amazing that would have helped everybody, but he did something that looks funny, but like, again, the video is clear enough. If you actually watch the video, you know what it is. So anyway, next week that video will come up. Oh, okay. Anyway, thanks for the basically attention, and I'm very grateful. All things considered, today I really needed this, and I'm gonna see you hopefully next Saturday, hopefully with some good news. Bye.